Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 8th of March, 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe today said he's closer to pausing interest rate rises, acknowledging the difficulties that higher rates are causing households, particularly since mortgage repayments are set to take up a record share of wages. It was in sharp contrast to what the boss of the US Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, said this morning. He was far more hawkish, suggesting US rates might need to be quite a bit higher. Powell said the cooling in the US economy appears to have been partly reversed based on recent jobs figures, consumer spending, production and inflation data. He said the ultimate level of interest rates is likely to be higher than previously anticipated. The comments from the central bank governor sent financial markets into a bit of a tailspin, with the US dollar appreciating against a basket of currencies. The greenback is at its highest level since the beginning of the year. That meant the Aussie dollar fell sharply to under 66 US cents. Wall Street tumbled as well. Fears that rates will push the world's largest economy into a recession are alive and well. After Powell's statement, the broad-based S&P 500 fell 1.5%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq fell a similar amount. Now, story number 2, all that economic news hit the local market, with the S&P ASX 200 finishing down 0.8% to 7,308 points. The banks and the big miners felt the slump. Macquarie and Westpac both fell more than 1%. Fortescue dropped 1.4% and BHP was off 0.7%. Diversified miner South32 fell 2%. It was a rough day for the gold miners as the price of the precious metal fell. Ramelius Resources was nearly 11% lower. Regis Resources and Silver Lake Resources were also down sharply. Market leader Newcrest Mining ended the day off 4%. There was a bunch of shares trading ex-dividend today, including Blackmores, Brambles, Costa Group, Super Retail Group and Woodside Energy. That means if you bought the shares today, you won't get the dividend announced at the half-year results. As a result, ex-div companies nearly always fall on the day. Story number 3, a bit of corporate news around. Shares in Qantas climbed to their highest level in 3 years at $6.74 after the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission said that domestic airfares remain above 2019 prices, and most airlines have improved delay and cancellation rates over the last few months. Private equity group TPG has upped its stake in InvoCare, Australia's biggest funerals and crematoria operator, to 19.9%. Mesoblast jumped 13% after the US Food and Drug Administration's Office of Therapeutic Products accepted its resubmission for a steroid refractory treatment. It fell by more than that when the FDA initially said it needed that resubmission. And car sales will buy another 40% of Brazil's leading automotive digital marketplace Webmotors for about $350 million, meaning it will own 70% of the business. Story number 4, Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers says the government wants to substantially trim spending in the May budget and only invest where there's genuine value for money. He said the government wants to make life a bit easier where it can, but it needs to show restraint as well. Chalmers says he's concerned about the position that Australians find themselves in with higher mortgage repayments, rents and energy costs. His comments came ahead of a meeting between Reserve Bank Governor Phil Lowe and Suicide Prevention Australia Chief Executive Neves Murray today. Now, I don't know how often the governor meets with similar not-for-profits, but clearly mental health of ordinary Australians is a concern at the central bank. And finally, story number 5, the competition watchdog will examine digital platform providers in Australia. We're talking Alphabet, which owns Google, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft and Meta, which of course owns Facebook. It's part of the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission's 5-year digital platform services inquiry, and ACCC Chair Gina Gas-Gottlieb said local consumers and businesses are increasingly reliant on the products and services offered, so it's important the watchdog understands how they're expanding their reach. We're talking about artificial intelligence, virtual and augmented reality, streaming, gaming, use of cloud services, the fintech space, financial technology space, home connected devices, and use in education and health and fitness. Unravelling how people use technology and how providers infiltrate daily life will be quite the task. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 8th of March, 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.